My wife called me at the shop. Her voice was flat, efficient, strangely triumphant. She told me without preamble that she'd inherited a fortune and that I needed to pack my things and leave the house immediately. When I walked in that evening, divorce papers were waiting on the dining table. I signed them, smiled, and walked out. She thought she'd won. She did not know what her uncle had put in his will. She had no idea what I already knew. My name is Henry Lane. I'm 52. I run a precision machining shop in northern Ohio. For 28 years, I've measured tolerances down to thousandths of an inch. Working at that level teaches you one thing: tiny differences matter. I wish I'd given my marriage that same careful attention. The call came on a Tuesday. I was overseeing a run of aerospace parts, the machines humming their steady song. My phone buzzed against my hip, and the name on the screen read Brandy. I stepped away and answered. She didn't bother with small talk. She announced the inheritance and told me to leave. I asked to talk. She gave me an ultimatum. Gone by 6. Then the line went dead. 2 weeks earlier, Raymond Mitchell Bree's uncle had called me from hospice. He was weak, but lucid. There are protections in the will for you, he said. When she finds out, she'll move fast. Be ready. Document everything. He coughed. Then he was gone. His warning didn't make Bry's call any easier. It did mean I wasn't blindsided. I left the shop early that day. I invented a family emergency for my foreman and drove home with Raymond's words in my head. The house looked staged. Every light was on, as if to spotlight the scene. Brandy stood in the living room in a business outfit, a perfectly arranged folder of papers in front of her. She asked me to sign. The documents looked official, expensive paper, neat printing, but they lacked stamps, case numbers, notarizations. My gut told me they were a performance. I signed the page she indicated, but not before I photographed every sheet. Then I packed a bag. Clothes, meds, documents, my laptop. I checked into a nearby motel, the kind that asks no questions and has cameras on every corner. Security felt like sanity. Raymond's warning echoed in my head. I opened our joint bank accounts. At first, everything looked routine. Then I scrolled back further, months, years of small transfers, often $500 or $800, always to a Patricia Reeves. The name belonged to Bry's mother. The trickle had been steady for 7 years. I added the numbers. The total landed at $243,000. Money had quietly been siphoned from our shared accounts while I trusted her to manage the household finances. I took screenshots and dug deeper. In my spam folder, I found a health insurance notification from 3 days earlier, a request to remove me from the family policy, pending review. Bry had already asked to cancel my coverage. I have type 2 diabetes. My monthly medication cost $750 without insurance. If she'd succeeded, I'd have run out of meds in 2 weeks. I would have faced a medical emergency. This wasn't just betrayal. It was calculated cruelty. I sent everything: bank records, the fake divorce papers, the insurance notices to Tom Patterson, the attorney who'd helped me incorporate the shop 15 years earlier. He called back the same night. We met the next morning. Tom's office smelled of books and experience. He listened, took notes, and told me the estate hearing was scheduled for the next day at the county probate office. I was a required attendee at the probate hearing. The will's terms were read aloud. Brandy was named primary beneficiary of roughly $1.2 million or so, she believed. But the will carried strings. Several rental properties could not be evicted, nor have rents raised beyond CPI for 5 years. More importantly, the deceased had appointed me as an observer and compliance officer during an 18-month administrative period. No beneficiary could use estate proceeds to force a spouse from a shared home without proper legal process. Bry's smile faltered. Then came a frantic text from a realtor. The house had been listed that night. A buyer had put down a deposit and was pushing for signatures. Tom and I went to the agency. The buyer turned out to be a retired federal judge, all authority and gravity. After examining the paper trail, he ordered the deposit returned and warned the realtor he'd report the misrepresentation. The unauthorized sale was stalled. That afternoon, my younger daughter Emily sent me an audio file. In it, Brandy spoke bluntly about using the inheritance to cut me out. She admitted she'd been planning this for years and treating the money as her own. The recording hit me like a blow, and it was proof. Tom told me Ohio is a one-party consent state. Emily's recorded voice could be used in court. In Raymond's sealed packet at the probate office, I found stacks of letters addressed to me. Raymond had been keeping notes for years, observations about Bry's relationship with another man, Derek Chandler, my longtime friend. One letter, written 3 weeks before he died, described Brandy attempting to have Raymond change the will while he was medicated. He refused, and added every protection he could think of. Another paper slipped from the envelope was a blood typing chart from Emily's birth, with Raymond's scrolled notes. The blood types didn't add up. Emily's type indicated she could not be my biological daughter. Tom looked at me and said the obvious. Biology didn't erase the years I'd raised her, but my world tilted. I asked for a test. Tom urged caution. Emily had already chosen me over money. Telling her about paternity might hurt more than help, he said. We'll handle that carefully. Then, unexpectedly, opportunity arrived. A recruiter from Titanium Aerospace called. They'd been watching my shop and wanted me to interview for Director of Quality Operations. The salary was generous. The role was prestigious. The move would be to Colorado. I hadn't mentioned the potential job to Brandy. Maybe instinct had kept me quiet. Now, with separation underway, the new position would be mine alone. Brandy filed for a restraining order, accusing me of abuse. The claim included photos and statements. I had an alibi, 4 nights at the motel, camera footage, receipts. Tom assembled hotel footage, credit card timestamps, and shop security logs at the hearing. Judge Rachel Cunningham reviewed the evidence and saw the dates didn't match Bry's claims. The restraining order was denied. The judge warned that making false statements was a serious matter. Brandy left the courtroom humiliated. Her credibility had been damaged on the record. We continued to collect proof. My older daughter, Mia, confronted Brandy with Emily. They recorded the confrontation. Brandy admitted to the affair and to taking money. She didn't try to deny it. The recordings, the bank records, Raymond's letters, and the failed restraining order painted a clear picture. Premeditated financial fraud and manipulation. Tom negotiated a settlement. Bry's millions turned out to be dramatically less after mortgages, maintenance, taxes, and final expenses. The estate's liquid assets wound up around $400,000. Brandy had already borrowed against an expected payout. $1,000 in recent loans and signed leases and promises she couldn't keep. In the end, she walked away with the rental properties and their headaches. I received the house and my business free of claims and a partial return of the stolen funds. The divorce would be finalized in 60 days. I accepted the job in Colorado. I sold the house and many of the things that tied me to the life Brandy had made false. 2 weeks before my move, I had dinner with Mia and Emily. They both sat across from me, looking older and steadier. Emily told me she'd seen the DNA results. She knew Derek Chandler was her biological father. She also told me something else that mattered more than any test. You raised me, she said. You're my dad. Those words steadied me more than any legal victory. Months later, I stood in my Denver apartment and watched the Rockies in the distance. My new job was challenging and rewarding. Mia got into medical school at the University of Colorado. Emily finished her degree and visited often. We built a life around honesty and each other. A dinner was held to celebrate what we'd endured and what we'd become. Friends, colleagues, and Tom came. My daughters spoke about character, about refusal to become bitter, about choosing the hard right thing. They thanked me for showing up. I don't take satisfaction in Bry's troubles. Her plans unraveled. Rental properties, demanding work, loans coming due. A relationship with Derek fell apart when the money didn't match the promise. That's not revenge. That's consequence. I felt no triumph, only relief, and something gentler. Peace. I lost a marriage built on lies. I lost a friend who betrayed me. I almost lost my health coverage and the future I'd expected, but I gained work that pushed me forward. I gained daughters who chose truth over comfort. And finally, I gained my dignity. Brandy tried to destroy me with betrayal. Instead, she freed me to become the man I was always meant to be.